Hello, my name's Devin. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something that's really hard to talk about, but my friends have encouraged me to talk about it. I want to speak with everyone about my bullying experience. I just took a really brisk 45-minute walk through the city, just kind of calming down so that I can talk about this and really think about this. It's something that affected me for a long time and something that I like to share with other people. And I feel like a lot of this stuff, not even like my close friends know, because it's really uncomfortable to talk about and it can be a little intense. So I want to do this to share with people so they can know me better, and also for anyone that's getting bullied or mistreated at school, know that it will stop. You will grow out of it. I hope this helps you. If you're wondering why I'm smiling so much, just because I'm a little bit uncomfortable, this is hard to talk about. I don't want to go through my whole life, but I do want to talk about some moments that really scarred me, things I had to go through therapy for later because they were very difficult for me. And just to kind of set the scene, I was a chubby kid with a bowl haircut, huge eyebrows, and I wore paint splattered neckties with knee-high Converse and neon skinny jeans. Just so you get an idea of like what kind of kid I was like. I remember I had this best friend, and I'm not gonna say her name, so let's just call her Mandy for her own privacy reasons. She was my best friend, and she was also my biggest bully for years of my life. And she would do little nasty things to me. It would be things like she would have these huge sleepovers and she would tell everyone in front of me that they were invited and then make it clear that I wasn't invited. And then she would send me, pictures on Facebook of how much fun everyone was having just to make me feel bad. Or she would call me and say, what do you think about so-and-so? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know. And then, abrupt laughter would be in the background. It'd be all the girls at the sleepover, calling me and trying to get me to talk badly about someone. And it was just things like that that were like slowly beating me down before they started escalating. So it started at, just excluding me from things and trying to pin other people against me too. So it started at, just excluding me from things and trying to pin other people against me to more aggressive behavior. The stupidest rumor and completely irrelevant, and I hope no one is offended by this, but you have to understand when you're like 10 or 11 and a rumor like this goes around about you and it's not true, it's extremely hurtful. So I guess a guy that she liked had liked me, which boys at this age, they never liked me. They never paid attention to me. I was always third wheel. There was no boyfriends in my life. It was just not happening for me. And for some reason, I guess this guy liked me. So she decides to spread a rumor that I was a lesbian and that I tried to make a move on her. And then that quickly spread around the school, and I spent the entire summer alone because everyone shunned me. No one would speak to me. And I remember I would wake up at like 2 p.m. and I would play Wii until I fell asleep. And, oh, hi. And that was my life. She got everyone to completely cut me off. And it was the loneliest time I've ever had in my entire life. And I cried all the time. And it was really hard just to be the unwanted one. And I remember on those last days of school, I was crying because after everyone did this, they had this, okay, he wants to stay. They had this like hand movement they did when I'd walk by. Oh yeah, he thinks I'm trying to pet him. This hand movement when I'd walk by, and that meant that I was coming, like I was, a sickness to be avoided. And I got so embarrassed and ashamed of myself that I started eating lunch in the bathroom because it was easier than eating alone. I didn't have anyone to eat with. I didn't want anyone to see me eating alone. I didn't want to see people making those hand movements about me. It was so hurtful and humiliating at that time. And then one of the girls in the group found out that I was eating in the bathroom. So they went to a teacher and said that I had an eating disorder and I was eating my food in the bathroom so that I could just throw it up and no one would catch me. So then the teachers made me sit in the cafeteria with another teacher. And I was just forced to watch people laugh and snicker at me and make those faces about me. And it was just so cruel. It was so brutal for me. I was so humiliated. I had no self-esteem. I felt so unwanted at that time. And I will never forget that for as long as I live, sitting and eating alone and watching her, snicker at me and just totally love my pain like it empowered her. And it escalated because when that rumor was over, because someone decided, hey, we shouldn't hate someone if they're a lesbian. That's wrong. And then, even though it's not true, so people slowly started accepting me again, me having no self-esteem and only having that one friend. I go back to being friends with Mandy because that's just what you do when you've been broken down. You don't even know that there should be a better friend. And so I remember she gets this boyfriend, we go to the school dance, and my parents don't have a lot of money. I was definitely not a rich kid. My mom buys me this nice blue dress and it's satin, it has cheetah print on it, and I straightened my little short hair and I had these nice black flats and I did my makeup, and I remember sitting in the kitchen and I was so proud. I had my mom take a picture on her phone and it was just absolute bliss for me, and I felt like, oh, this is it. I feel good right now, and I don't remember the last time I felt good. So I get to the dance and I actually had a date, and immediately when I'm there, my date goes for one of the girls in the group, one of Mandy's friends. He's Mandy's friends. He's I'm not going with you, sorry, you're here alone. Which is such a big deal when you're in middle school, because it's oh, you're the one with no date. You have to stand alone in the pictures, and the picture was the biggest deal. I'm I want a picture, because I just wanted to be a part of a group. I was just so excited to be a part of a group, and I felt like this would solidify it for me. I had a date, I would be in a group, and I could hang it on my wall and know that I had a place somewhere. And so I'm waiting on the bleachers, and Mandy comes up to me and she says, we're gonna go somewhere, we'll be right back. So I'm sitting alone on the bleachers, and this is, by the way, we had the dance in the gymnasium. So of course that's where I was sitting, and I'm waiting and 25 minutes go by, and I'm just kind of sitting there, and I'm oh, I wonder where they are. I don't know where they I wonder where they could be. And then her boyfriend comes and finds me later, Mandy's boyfriend at this time. And he's where were you? And I was what do you mean? I've been here the whole time. He's no, we just went to go take pictures. And I was what? I was what do you mean you went to go take pictures? And he's we just took our picture. She's Mandy said that you were in the bathroom and you missed it. And I was just oh my God, my world was just crushed in that moment. And all of a sudden it was instant. I'm I feel so stupid for doing my makeup. Why am I in this dress? I don't look good in this. I don't feel good. I'm not a pretty girl. I'm a loser. And so I sat there with tears in my eyes, and I said, I'll be right back. And I go wipe my tears away, as there are people in the bathroom. I come back, and Mandy comes to me. She says, I'm sorry. It's just, you had no date, and you're taller than all the boys. It just wouldn't look right. And then my friend, who ended up being my friend for a long time, comes up to me, and I'll use a surname or a code name for her. I'll just call her Alyssa. And then Alyssa comes up to me. She says, why are you crying? And I said, I'm Mandy, she just hates me, and she bullies me, and she leaves me out of things, and I'm so tired of getting my feelings hurt. I'm so tired of being hurt, and I'm just sobbing. And it happens that Alyssa is the most popular girl in school. And for whatever reason, she decided to come up to me. And she goes, she will never be mean to you again. And just like that, she declared it. And Mandy was never mean to me again because she wasn't allowed to be mean to me because this girl declared it. Like just like the craziest things that happen when you're a kid. It was such a sad kid. And it was the being left out of sleepovers. It was the not being wanted. It was just spending an entire summer alone. It was just all of that together. I just felt bad about myself and I was so sad. And I remember, and I know this is kind of crazy, but I remember telling Mandy, because she's sending me something nasty on, Facebook Messenger out of nowhere because she decided that's what she wanted to do. And I said, I don't know if life is worth living if it's always going to be like this, just hoping that she would back off. And then she's like, oh, sweetie, you need help. And I was like, God, this is like, gosh, so nasty. And, the incredible part is years later, she ended up, it's like, God, this is like, gosh. The incredible part is years later, she ended up coming out of the closet. So I do feel that a lot of that was projection, and there's nothing wrong with coming out of the closet. It's just putting someone else into shame and putting them in a box alone and watching them suffer. I mean, that's the messed up part. I just want to clarify that. So let's say middle school goes by. Mandy is not in the picture. High school is coming around, and I'm so excited because at this point I've been friends with Alyssa, and Alyssa had healed me in a lot of ways. She had helped me bring my confidence back, and I had a friend group because of me, but mostly because of her. I give her complete credit for that. So I do everything because this time I want to fit in, of course, like any 14, 15-year-old girl wants to do. I want to fit in. I want to be liked. I am just done with being an outsider. So I get a blonde ombre, and I go and get the jeans from American Eagle and the striped shirts, and I've got the white Converse. Like, I have everything I need to fit in a freshman in high school. And I even play volleyball. I quit doing MMA and Taekwondo, and I did volleyball. I really went for it. And everything was, was kind of going okay. We're all getting to know each other. And then one day, my mom is picking me up from school, and she says, I heard something concerning from some of the other moms. And I said, what? What? She's like, well, I heard that you'd slept with the entire football team. Roman, I heard that you slept with the entire football team. Do you need to go on birth control? And I remember just sitting in the car, and I just was like, my head started spinning. Because I had just had my first kiss the summer before that. I mean, this was so out of pocket. And that crushed me. I felt crushed all over again. And that's definitely when I became cynical. Because it was like, I get it. Like, I'm the weird kid, or I had this one bully and no one likes me. But I had done everything right. I had done everything to fit in. And people, now I'm a slut? Why? What about me is so hard to like? What about me is just so difficult that people just don't want me around, that they just spew these lies about me? What, do I deserve this? And I asked myself that, do I deserve to be treated this way? And it made me angry. And, I had my solid group of friends, but there wasn't too much outside of that, really. And maybe someone from my hometown is watching this and remembering it different, but I would just like to clarify, this is my story, this is how I perceived it, and this is how I felt, and I am valid in every way to speak about this. Thank you. So sophomore year rolls around. It's it's kind of the same things. And just I'm always hearing these slut stories, and I stayed especially innocent because it was kind of a big screw you to people, because at least any rumors that I heard I knew weren't true. I knew couldn't even be true. So I kind of just went crazy, and and when I say crazy, I mean I've been always a very artistic person, and I kind of just wanted to decorate myself. I was like, fine, like, I'll do everything to fit in, and if you still don't like me, then I'm just gonna do whatever I want. So I dyed my hair red, and I had a lot of influence. I loved like drag makeup. I love that like super glam recreation of yourself. So I'd wear this thick eyeliner, and I'd wear the red lipstick to match my hair, and I have super strong contour, which should have been blended, but it's okay, we all make mistakes. And it was like, one, it was an artistic thing, but two, it was just a huge like, stay away from me. I really just wanted to protect myself. I was so angry because I just felt like there was nothing I could do to make people like me. And then I felt like I was just an unlikable person. I did have friends, but it was all of the outside talk, all of that, and it came from grades higher up. It came from my grade. It came from my volleyball team. And then I stopped playing volleyball because what some of the girls were saying on the team, and I didn't want to go to team sleepovers with them because it was just shameful. It just felt like the same thing again. But it was like I tried to do the opposite and I still failed. So I had this red hair and I'd wear this crazy, makeup, and I just did whatever I wanted. And there were people that spoke to me and there were those things, but it just frustrated me. And I did end up going to therapy later before I moved out to Chicago because I didn't really have self-esteem or self-confidence. I had been beaten down and berated by people that don't know me since as young as I can remember. It was the kids on the school bus telling me that I was, the boys across from me telling me that I was ugly or that I was chubby. Just little things like that. And it would be just the constant rejection from people made me feel like I wasn't worth anything. So I turned more towards social media. And I had friends over social media. Like, I had a friend that lived in New York and we're still friends now. We used to message back and forth on Twitter. I've, friends on Instagram. And I sort of started to grow my following on Instagram when I was still in my town, which it was significant for my town because it was a couple thousand. I still don't have that much now, but just to kind of put in perspective, it was a lot more than average for my town. So it was slightly significant. So then I heard people talking about me, more and more, and people would try and start fights with me on Twitter. They would say things about me at parties, just like nasty stuff. So then by junior year, I just completely put a bubble around myself. I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted to graduate. I wanted to leave. And I would put in my music when I walked through the halls, and I didn't even go to my locker. My locker was empty because I didn't want to be around anyone. And I just drifted. I just felt like I was drifting. And I never spoke to anyone because I had this feeling that my feelings were not valid. How I felt was not valid, and they were not worth being shared. And I told my friend one day, and I had two friends. We'd been friends so long. My friend Audrey, I will put her name in here because I love her and she's real. And I told her, it's the first time that I really talked about it. I'm like, I feel like a ghost drifting through school. I feel like the weeks just go by and I'm not here for any of it. That was the first time that I just actually talked about my feelings, and it helped and she helped. And then I graduated high school early and it ended, and I went to therapy. And when I went to therapy, I sat down, and the first day I was there, I said nothing because I didn't know how to communicate my feelings. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable with physical touch with people. Hugging made me uncomfortable because of the rumor that was, oh, okay, you can come back. I was uncomfortable with just platonic affection because of the shame I had felt around being around girls when that rumor went around about me in middle school. And I was scared to talk about my feelings because I'd never have. I was scared to tell people I love them because people were always hurting me. So I kind of came in with a lot of issues to therapy. And I told her, I'm like, I want a better life. I want to move out and I have these dreams, but I don't know if I'm the woman worthy of them. I don't know if I'm worthy of having a good life. I don't know if I'm worthy of being happy. And we talked through the bullying, and that's when I learned about projection. And projection is pain or insecurities that people feel or whatever it might be. And instead of them dealing with themselves, they put it onto other people as to alleviate themselves or to make themselves feel better by putting them on a pedestal. Okay. And that's when my healing really started, from the bullying, where I realized that, so maybe it's not that I'm just an incredibly unlikable person. Maybe it has nothing to do with that. Maybe it's just that I'm in the wrong place and it's time to move on, and I'm not going to carry other people's pain and insecurities with me. That is not my responsibility, and I'm not going to do it. And that was the first time I put my foot down. And so I want to say that I was in therapy for about a year. And so I started being an unsure woman, being pretty beaten down, to be honest. That's how I felt. I went from a bright, happy woman. I was so confident. When I left that year later. It was all the healing I needed. But there was a big point for me that I would like to share with people. And this is difficult to share. This is not easy, but I'm hoping that someone watching this, if you have been bullied or beaten down by other people, I just hope this helps you a little bit, or just makes you understand that there are other people that it has happened to, and you will heal from it, you will move on, and life will get so good. Your life will blossom. It will be over, I promise. The really important moment that I want to share is when I went to New York for the second time. First time was like a school trip, and it was really cold and it sucked. Second time I'm going to New York with my friends. So this is like my first time I'm like actually going on a vacation that's not like in Wisconsin, and I was just freaking out. And I remember me and my friend were in this rooftop in New York, and we can see the whole city, and everyone around me is beautiful and they're glamorous, and I felt beautiful. And I looked at this ledge and I realized that I'd been so unhappy for so long that this is actually what happiness felt like. I didn't even realize how miserable I'd been because I didn't know better. And for a moment there, as I'm looking over the ledge, I thought, I can't go back and have that life. I can't go back and be alone. It would be easier to just jump off this ledge and have this be my moment than ever go back and experience that again. And I like to speak about that moment because I made a decision that I deserve a good life. I deserve to be happy, and I wouldn't settle for any less. And that's exactly what I did. And that's when I was going to therapy still, and I'd come out a better woman months later, and I had felt stronger, and I had decided to keep pushing with my life. And that's when I moved out to the city, and I met friends that they don't condemn me, they don't shame me, they don't laugh at my dreams, they don't ignore them. They encourage me and they push me and they want me to do well, and I want them to do well, and we trust each other. And I have, a network of people around me that love and support me, and I'm in a healthy home, and I'm in a place that I love, and I have 2 cats that I love, and life is so good now, but a few years ago, it just felt like it would never end. So I really hope that if you're watching this and there's someone in your life that is treating you poorly, or there is a situation you have in your life where you are unhappy and you want to be out of it, it will end. I promise you. Find those people that are good for you. Go to the place that is healthy for you. Find a spot where you have room to blossom, because anything is possible once you do. I am so, it's like overwhelming that I'm just kind of putting this out into the world because this is really difficult. But if my story has helped you or inspired you in some way, or even if you want advice, please reach out to me. I would be more than happy to talk with you, because I know there were times in my life that I really needed someone to just listen to me and tell me that my feelings were valid. I'm going to be coming out with videos every Monday, every other Monday. I'm still deciding on what I want to do. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a wonderful Monday, and please come back next week for my next video. Thank you.